But for the moment, let's get ourselves into a space where we can come into some beautiful balance in this crazy time of year. So before I go anywhere further, I would just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which I am practicing today, which are lands that I have not practiced on before, and my pronunciation might be terrible, but I'm practicing on the lands of the Mohawk and Haudenosaunee peoples. I would like to pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. And I would also like to pay my respects to their continuing connection with land, sea and skies. And I would invite you to silently pay your respects to those who look after the lands on which you're practicing today. And I would also like to pay my respects to my own ancestors, to thank them and extend my gratitude to them for continuing to be with me and to bring me here to practice with you today. Do please excuse the rather messy background. It's not what I normally have, but I'm in an Airbnb today. So hopefully everybody got all the information about having props and music, just some other people dropping in. So just reminding you to have that with you, some cushions, blankets, some beautiful music going for yourselves. With Yin Yoga, if you haven't done it before, it's all about our fascia, which is the connective tissue that surrounds absolutely everything in your body and is really what is painful if we're experiencing pain that we might think of as muscular pain, and is really something that can only be stretched and targeted by holding a shape or a stretch. And that's what we're doing with Yin. So before we start stretching, I'd like us to just bring ourselves into this space that we are all connected in, but this space that you're practicing in yourself this morning. So I'd invite you to get yourself into a comfortable seat. That doesn't need to look anything like how I'm sitting. You can just sit cross-legged, just have your legs out in front, have your back supported if you want to. We're just going to be here for a couple of minutes. Once you're in a comfortable seat, just bringing your eyes down, either closing them or resting them gently on a gaze in front of you. And just starting to bring your attention into the space where you are. Just starting to notice how everything is with you today, what you can hear. Hopefully you can hear some beautiful music playing in your own space. And hopefully you can hear my voice. Just being aware as well that with the practice of Yin Yoga, there is actually a lot of silence from your guide, that is me. So while we're in the shapes that we're going to be in, I'm not going to be talking constantly during those minutes. So just be aware of that and prepared for that. But right now, listening for what you can hear around you, what you can hear within the space you're in, what you can hear outside your space. Hopefully you're not getting too much of the traffic noise that I can hear outside my space, which is very different to my own space at home. What can you feel? Noticing the texture of the clothing on your skin. Perhaps whatever it is that you're resting yourself on. How soft or firm does that feel? Is there something under your fingertips? Just noticing that. What colour can you see behind your eyelids? Do you have a bright light around you, and therefore you're seeing some orange and red, those really grounding, earthy colours. Or perhaps it's dimmer and you're able to take yourself into the higher vibrations of colour, of blue and purple. Is there a taste in your mouth? Have you just brushed your teeth or drunk a big glass of water? And can you smell anything around you? Perhaps breakfast coming from somewhere else in your space. Or perhaps some beautiful smells of nature, grass or flowers coming from an open window or door. And then noticing your breath. And I just invite you to take 3 very slow, deep breaths. Breathing all the way into the bottom of your belly, expanding your belly as you breathe in. Holding the breath there for a moment. And then gradually releasing the breath, gradually but fully. You may like to breathe out through an open mouth with a bit of a sigh. And doing that twice more. And then we'll get ready for our first Yin Yoga shape for the session today. We're going to come into what is called in Yin a pontoon. And if you've done other yoga, then you may think of it as a bridge, but it's going to be a supported bridge. So you're going to come down onto your back and you're going to have support under your lower back. So probably easiest to place the support directly behind you with your legs out, and then bending your knees and leaning back. And then what you can do with your legs is whatever you like. And this is going to be the case for all the shapes that we do. We are aiming to feel a stretch all the way along the front of the body. Now, you may feel more of a stretch if you have your legs out. It may feel like too much of a stretch for you. Now, for me, I definitely need more support underneath me because I'm used to having a big yoga bolster, which I didn't travel with overseas. So for me to feel a stretch, I need more under my back. I probably want for now to have my knees bent, and I'm feeling that really nice stretch along the torso. With your arms as well, you can place them however you like. You may feel more of a stretch if you put your arms up above your head, but you can have them out to the sides in a T shape. So just remembering, just let me know if anybody has any problems with feeling a stretch along the front of the body in that shape. And we're going to stay in this shape for a few minutes. this can be a really nice activation for our internal organs in the belly, giving a nice stretch. And if you do choose to have your legs stretched out, then you may feel quite a bit of a stretch across the hips as well, and even into potentially into your quads, into the front of your thighs. And there will be a bit of stretch as well into the back of the body. Remembering as well that at any point you can adjust your shape. So you may feel like you're noticing that the stretch lessens as your body, as your fascia is able to be activated into this shape, and therefore perhaps altering where your arms or your legs are will help you to feel the stretch some more once again. Just taking a last few breaths in that shape. And then just very gently and slowly easing yourself back up into a sitting position. And we'll do a bit of a rebound shape from that, because it is quite an intense stretch along the front of the body. I haven't done any yoga for a couple of weeks in my travels, so I certainly noticed it. So my suggestion for a rebounding stretch is a happy baby, but that might not be what you want. If you just want to lie down on your back, that is totally fine as well. I just like happy baby because I did have my legs stretched out before, and it kind of compresses the belly in rebound from the stretch we just gave it. If you've never done happy baby before, hopefully you can see me. So my legs are up in the air, feet facing the ceiling. My hands are holding the outsides of either foot. And the beauty of doing a rebound is it actually really allows us to feel the energy flow into the area where we were just stretching. So hopefully you can feel that, a bit of tingling. You notice the blood flow into the front of the body, the legs, the hips, wherever you're feeling the stretch before. Take a couple more breaths in that rebound shape. And then we are going to come into our second shape, which is called Bananasana. And as you might expect, it's a shape that puts us into the shape of a banana. So I'm going to ask you to bring your hips to the right side of your mat and your feet to the left side. And it's a shape that we do lying down. So hips are on the right side, feet are on the left, and then head or arms first come over to the left side of the mat as well. So you can see that we've got a curve like a banana shape on the left side of our body. And we're feeling this stretch all the way along the right side of the body. Now, again, there's lots you can do with your feet and arms to slightly alter the shape. So you may like to cross one leg over the other to feel a bit more of a stretch. And depending on your body, that may feel more or less with one leg over than the other. And with your arms, you can even rest your head on the right arm if you want to do that. And if it's too much, you know, sometimes for the shoulders, having the arms stretched above the head is a lot. So feel free to just have your arms out to the side in like a cactus shape. And again, remembering that you can alter your shape at any point during the stretch. Once again, don't forget to let me know if you've got any questions or problems with feeling a stretch in that shape. Hopefully you've got some beautiful music and sounds to listen to while you stay in the shape. Sometimes it can be nice to send the breath into the area that we're stretching. I like to often visualize this, seeing the breath as, I don't know, like the tide, a flow of water. Breathing in and sending that tide into the side of the body. You may also find altering the position of your head, which way it's turned, will alter your stretch as well. Taking a couple more breaths in this banana shape. And then when you're ready, just bringing yourself back to a neutral position, bringing your hips back to the center, and just lying straight and still for a few moments. Once again, noticing the energy flowing into that right side of the body. And then we're going to come into the same shape on the other side. So this time, shifting your hips to the left, bringing your feet over to the right bottom corner of your mat, if you're on a mat, and your arms over the top of your head again, and hands over towards the right side. So once again, you're in the shape of a banana, but on the other side. So you're feeling a stretch all the way along the side of your left side. I'm also noticing the compression on this side on the right side of my body. So at the waist, we're compressing the other side, and I'm actually feeling that sensation as well. So just being aware of these kinds of things. What are you feeling? Remembering that you can have your hands and your arms wherever you want to have them, so that that stretch is there but is comfortable. So for me, actually having my right arm over the top of my head, I really feel it in my shoulder. Don't forget to turn your camera on or drop a note in the chat if you need any help with the shape. The beauty of Yin Yoga is that it gives us the chance to just be. It allows the energy to ebb and flow generally. Our lives are very yang, very action oriented, and there needs to be some balance for that. We need to remember that a vessel is only useful because of its emptiness. And when we practice yin, we practice stillness. We practice silence. And that allows the space for the yang energy, the yang parts of life to be more, just to be more. We do need both, but balance is the key. Just taking a few more breaths in that shape. And then gradually, I'm going to invite you this time to take a rest on your front. So rolling over perhaps on your tummy and just resting yourself down straight. So we're decompressing from that banana shape. Once again, noticing the flow of the energy into the side of the body that you just stretched. Okay, and then we'll come up into our next shape. So with this one, I'd invite you just to come into a seat, and we're going to be working on stretching the front of the thigh and the front of the thigh on your right leg. So if you just have a look at the screen, I've got my right leg bent up and my left leg is out in front of me. And what we're going to do is lean back so we feel that stretch. Now, for some people, the leaning back may just simply be really sitting up on your hands. Some people can lie all the way back on their back flat, and that it gives them a really beautiful stretch. I like to do that when I'm nice and warm, but I'm not. So if you're like me, then what we want to do is to support ourselves. So putting some props behind you so that as you lie back, the weight of your body is supported, and I'm still feeling a really good stretch along the front of my right thigh. You can drop your head back. You may want to have your head supported. It's very much up to you. I don't think I actually want to have my head dropping all the way back like that. So that's better for me. With your arms, again, you can put them wherever you like. You might like to have them up above your head. That does certainly increase the stretch for me. You can just have them at your side, out to the side in a T shape. Just getting yourself into a position where you've got that stretch along the front of your right thigh. breathing into that area of the body. You may also want to adjust the position of your foot and indeed your calf. So you might want to take it more out to the side rather than having it really close in, which was how I demonstrated it at the start. So you might want to extend your calf, your lower leg outwards from your body, and that certainly makes it a less intense stretch for me. And adjusting your ankle, the flexion or extension of your ankle. So is your foot flexed up towards the calf? Is it more pointed? Is going to adjust the stretch as well. It's a really good one for all my hikers. And once again, remembering to adjust at any point during the stretch. So that you can ease that pressure off or indeed increase the stretch for yourself. Just taking a few more breaths in this shape. And then easing yourself out of it. So definitely stretching that leg out in front of you. You may want to lie yourself back totally flat. I find with this, I actually like to have a bit of a wriggle of my legs. And once again, noticing the energy, the blood flowing into that area that we've stretched. We won't stay in this rebound too long because we're just going to go onto the other side, which does give that leg we've stretched more time being stretched out in the opposite direction. So actually I'll come to the other end so you can see me better. So bending up your other leg now, which should be your left leg. And once again, and remembering it may be different for you on one side than from the other. So you might find that on this side, you need to be supported higher up, or on this side, you have more room available and you can lie yourself down flatter. Don't forget to adjust the angle of your lower leg, your foot, your ankle, and adjusting the height of the support behind you. We are also stretching our hips and potentially, depending somewhat on exactly what position you've got your foot in, you're also stretching your feet as well. So definitely a fabulous stretch for hiking, for anything weight bearing really. It's a stretch that I really like to do when I've done a weights class. When we're stretching into our hips, it can be really an emotional storage place, the hips. So stretching here can be a release. Now that can be not easy. But a lot of important things in life are not easy. Unfortunately, when we spend so much time sitting, our hips get really blocked up. Energetically, physically, and potentially emotionally. Taking a few more breaths in this shape now. And then let's come into a rest, a rebound from that shape in a sitting position. So just even potentially just resting your legs straight out in front of you. I'd certainly like to have my legs straight after that stretch, maybe leaning forward a little bit. Just so then you'll notice you've got the stretch along the back of your legs rather than the front. Again, you might like to give them a little bit of a shake. And then we're going to come into a sitting pose called shoelace. So what we do with this is we're imagining that our legs are the laces and we're going to cross them over. Oh gosh, my to you, my right hip, it's actually my left hip, is talking to me. So your left leg crossing over the top of your right leg. Now, again, there is multiple variation in this. So your shape may look a lot more uncrossed. So you can not have your knees directly on top of each other. They may be kind of one in front of the other. You might have your feet closer into your body or further out. So with this, we are noticing the stretch. Again, for me, I'm feeling it into my hips, into my backside, and also into the hamstrings. And what we then want to do is to lean our body, lean our weight forwards. So then you'll really start to feel it into the hips, into the hamstrings, into your glutes. Now, again, with the leaning forward, for some people, it may literally be just a small bend at the hips. For other people, they can be almost flat down onto their legs. So just get yourself into a position where you're noticing that stretch. Now, you, like me, might feel quite uncomfortable initially. You can also prop yourself before you lean forward. Not feeling like that's making it any easier for me. This is what you get for not doing yoga for 2 weeks. But I know that by holding this shape, I'm going to feel a lot better afterwards. And even throughout the duration of the 3 minutes or so that we're holding the shape for, that noise that I'm getting from my hip is going to slowly quieten down a bit. You can also adjust the position that your body leans over. So you may find for yourself, because we're especially targeting the left hamstrings, glutes, hips, that if you lean over more towards the right, then you feel that stretch more in that top leg. It may be the other side that feels better for you. So don't feel like you necessarily have to lean over the middle, over the top of your legs. Just play around with it. Just try some different alternatives. So taking your last few breaths in this shape. Easing yourself up to a seat. Giving the leg a bit of a stretch. Might like to lean yourself back just slightly. So again, doing the opposite. And I'm again just giving my legs a bit of a wriggle and noticing how my right side feels really different to my left side. Okay, so we're going to then come into the same shape, but on the other side. So this time your right leg is going to be on top. And remembering your version of where you feel a stretch in your right glutes, your right hamstring, your right hip. It may look very different to what I'm demonstrating. So just altering your feet where exactly they are. Are they bent? Are they pointed? And as I said before, altering where you actually lean your weight over. Are you better off to take it to one side or the other? If I really want to feel it more in the right side, which we're targeting, then leaning more to the left feels better for me. Breathing into that hip. You can really feel the benefits of the work that we did stretching the other side in this shape. Just giving me some more ready ease on this side. So working with the hips may help us to move through our emotions. The same kind of thing as when you feel really angry or frustrated or annoyed, you really want to move your body. You might want to do something much more yang, go for a run or a fast walk, moving yourself through your emotions. And yin perhaps helps us to move through things that we're less aware of, less conscious of. Just taking your last few breaths in this shape. And then easing yourself out. Once again, stretching the legs out, perhaps giving them a bit of a shake. And you might want to take yourself into a lying down position, which is where we're going to finish our practice today. So getting yourself into a lying down shape that is really super comfortable for you. So for me, I often love to have something under my knees, because then that little curve in your lower back is going to be a bit more supported towards the ground, and it can be really nice to have a cushion or something under your head. And if you haven't already used your blanket, now would be the time, unless it's super hot. Maybe it's super hot in Melbourne, I don't know, because I'm in -5 degrees. But in any case, your body temperature has dropped during this session and you're going to be really still now for a few more minutes. So a blanket could be a really good idea. So getting yourself into whatever lying down position is most comfortable for you. Now, if that's on your side or on your front, that is absolutely fine. I'm just going into my favorite lying down position. And closing down your eyes if they're not already. And once again, just refocusing on yourself in your space. This is a poem called Contemplation 1 by Linda Davis. In my silence, I would reach beyond the ticking of my little heart to hear the pulse of distant galaxies. I would be porous as a leaf to sunlight. I would meet my maker, sweet earth, skin to skin. In my silence, there would be nothing, which is everything. I would dissolve my unique essence in the ocean of equilibrium. Just taking your attention to your toes, don't need to move them, just have an awareness of your toes. And then your feet. Your ankles. Don't leave either one out. Noticing your shins, your calves, the backs of your knees, your kneecaps, your thighs, the backs of your thighs, your buttocks, your hips, each of your hips. And your belly, your lower back, your mid back, your upper back, your chest, being aware of your shoulders, do they feel the same? Being aware of your upper arms, your lower arms, your wrists, your hands, all of your fingers. Send awareness into each of your fingers. Your throat, the back of your neck, your chin, your lips, your nose, your eyes, your cheeks, your forehead, the top of your head, back of your head, the whole of the back of your body, all of the front of your body. And just like we did at the start, let's finish with 3 deep breaths all the way into the bottom of the belly. Belly expanding, ribs expanding. And releasing that breath fully, deeply, and completely. Breathing out every last little sip of air. Breathing in again. Breathing in the energy that you need for your day. And releasing the breath, releasing everything, letting go. And last breath, all the way in. Nourishing your body with the calm and peace that it has made during this session, and fully releasing. Then bringing a little bit of movement back into perhaps your hands and your feet. And gradually bringing yourself into a sitting position. You might like to stop on your side for a moment. And then coming up to sit, however is comfortable for you. Maybe very different to your sitting position at the start. Might be exactly the same, but feel different. I hope everyone found that a lovely way to start their day. And thank you for joining me. Have a beautiful festive season, what is left of it. I'll probably do another one of these sessions in about a week, but I'll let you all know if you're interested. And for now, I would like to say Shanzai, which is thank you. And there will be, I'll put the recording of this on my YouTube channel too, in case anyone wants to do the practice again. But thank you so much for coming along.